Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Nariza and my channel is all about growth and transformation for the young Christian, and it is from a perspective of somebody who, like a non-conventional Christian perspective. I'm going to work on that intro and I'm going to work on a more thorough description of what my channel is about, but right now I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to just feel it out and see what works and what doesn't work, and what kind of videos I enjoy making more and what kind of videos I don't enjoy making. So yeah, we're at the beginning stages. So if you're watching for the second time or the third time, because I currently have 2 videos up, welcome back, and shout out to my sister who I know is going to be watching this. And if you're watching for the first time, then welcome. Please like this video and please subscribe to the channel so that we can grow and reach more people with this perspective and my hot takes, if you will. So I'm very excited to make this video today. I'm excited about what I'm talking about, which is the topic of radical honesty and how it impacts relationships and how it has impacted my own life, right? The first thing that I want to talk about, I'm going to be referring to my notes because I don't want to get sidetracked and I don't want to end up talking about things that are not relevant. I'm going to talk about being radically honest with yourself, and then being radically honest with the people who are in your life, and how in my growth that has proven to be extremely transformative to my life and to my relationships with other people. So the first thing that I want to talk about is being radically honest with yourself. Being honest with yourself about the things that you want, the things that you need, the things that you don't like, the things that you do like. This is basically this idea of being in tune with yourself, being in tune with your emotions, to know the things that tick you off, the things that don't tick you off, and don't shy away from that. I know if you're a Christian like myself, there's like a certain expectations for how you should act and how you shouldn't act, and things that you should do and things that you shouldn't do. And then that gets into your head, and that's the voice that's in your head. I'm not saying that's particularly a bad thing. I mean, it's good to have that structure and rigidity, especially as a newer Christian. It was helpful for me to have that kind of structure and rigidity. But what I want us to get away from, or what I would urge you to get away from, is now feeling like you need to adhere to certain things, and when you don't adhere to certain things, then that means there's something wrong with you. And because you feel like there's something wrong with you, then you want to sort of like hide away the things that are bad. Like an example of this is how recently I did something that I never thought that I would do. Like I never thought that I would ever do such a thing. And I not only started to do this thing, I continued to do it for a duration of some time. And the whole time I knew what I was asking myself, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I couldn't stop doing it. And it's moments like these, and when things like this happen to me, that are really sobering to me, that make me realize that there's nothing to be found from running away from the things that sort of haunt you in a way. You know, it's better to be honest with yourself about those things so that you're better able to handle them. So what I would encourage you to do is to just be clear with yourself. Maybe write it down, maybe talk to a friend, and try to really sit and think about the things that you hate, the things that you like, and even the things, especially the things that are not expected of you, or are things that you shouldn't hate and things that you shouldn't like and find pleasure in or joy in as a Christian. Be honest with yourself about those things. So for an example, I try to do this before I made this video, you know, because we try to live out what we say here. So one of the things that I don't like is being made fun of. It is really up there with things that it throws me off. Being made fun of or being laughed at excessively, like when I'm having a conversation with somebody and then I do something, maybe I make a mistake in my speech and then they just start laughing at me. I immediately shut down. It's horrible. It throws me off. It makes me uncomfortable. It makes me feel like I'm out of step with myself. I don't know how to describe it. And then another thing that I don't like, this might come as a surprise to some people because of how like assertive I am, I guess, like extroverted, but I don't like being the center of attention. And I especially don't like being the center of attention when I'm in a group of introverted people, or people who are not as assertive with their opinions, and people who are not as outspoken as I am, right? So then, I don't know, it kind of feels like I'm this, I just don't like it. That's why I like hanging out and talking to people who are like me, who are more extroverted, who are more outspoken, and have opinions about the things that I have opinions about, you know, so I don't feel like I'm imposing. Yeah, I don't like feeling like I'm imposing myself on people. And then other things that make me happy, or things that I like being told clearly what's expected of me. So I like details of this is what you should do and this is what you shouldn't do, and have that be really clear. And if it's not, then that throws me off. I don't like it. So not to go back to things, I don't know why I put this here. But I don't like it when people don't do the things that they say that they're going to do, regardless of how small they are. And an example of this is if somebody says, oh, I'll call you back in an hour, and I'm sitting there an hour later. And I feel like this has been so normalized where people are like, I'll call you back, and then they don't call you back. I'm just like, you said you'd call me back, you know, because I would just say, I'm not going to call you back, you know, instead of saying, I'm going to call you back. That might, maybe, here's the thing, when you're radically honest with yourself, maybe the things that you hate and the things that you like and stuff like that are foolish and stupid, and maybe they're mean, maybe they're not things that you're supposed to be dwelling on, you know. Maybe some of the things that I mentioned, you're probably thinking like, what, you know, you need to grow up, you know. And maybe that's the case, but you're never gonna know if you're not honest with yourself about that. Yeah, so that's just some of the things that I've discovered about myself through this practice of continuously asking myself, hey, what do you want? What do you not like? You know, that's the beginning. And then the second thing I wanted to talk to you about is the shadow. All right. And for the purposes of this video, the shadow is I'm gonna describe the shadow as being so it's the not so pretty part of yourself, right? That lurks beneath the surface. And it has potential to manifest itself under the right conditions. Like the example that I gave earlier of something that I did, it was the conditions that made it manifest. You know, it made it come out, and I never expected that I would do such a thing. So it's the things that us as Christians say to ourselves, oh, I would never do that. You know you're not supposed to, but you know that you wouldn't. You know, wouldn't it be better for you to know what's in your shadow, right? Wouldn't it be better for you to integrate your shadow, contend with the things that are in your shadow, so that when you find yourselves under the conditions where something like that can manifest itself, you're able to fight it off better. You're putting yourself in a position where you know yourself, not only the self that that's you every single day, but also the things that lurk beneath the surface that under the right conditions could manifest itself. You know, like an example of this could be, and I'm not saying this is what I did, but maybe under the right certain conditions of loneliness, you could find yourself texting a person that you know you're not supposed to text, you know, something like that. So instead of saying, oh, I would never do that, why don't you try? Sit. It's a meditative practice to be in tune with yourself to the point where you know that, wait, if this happened, I probably would, you know. So then when that situation does arise, it's nothing new to you. It's not going to take you by surprise because you meditatively think it through all the time. So another way that I do this in my life, a way that is helpful for me to be in tune with what I need, what I want, and it sort of allows me to navigate life and my relationships in a way that's better, more beneficial for me, helps me to grow, and I would hopefully helps me to grow alongside the people who are in my life. Is that I keep a needs journal, right? Okay, let me speak about the emotional first. So I have in like a folder that's very easy for me to access. I have an emotion wheel, and I should probably edit that into the video, but it's like a wheel with emotions on it, and it has like the big five. I think like you're sad, you're happy, you're disappointed, and then it extends into more and more descriptive emotions, and it helps me to identify how I feel in a certain situation when it's hard for me to identify it. And not only knowing how you feel, knowing where in your body you're feeling it, so that you're able to identify the feeling easier next time. It's like being so in tune with yourself, that you're able to identify your emotions, identify where you're feeling them, so that it's easy for you in the future to detect them and to know how to better handle situations. And then the second thing is a needs journal, right? Needs and wants journal, whatever you want to call it. And I have it. And so some of the things that I have in this journal is, first of all, I have the emotion wheel. So I'll write the date, and then I write, these are the emotions that were predominant in me today. And then the next thing is needs. What do I need in this moment? And then an example of an entry that I have, someone's calling me, from just a couple of days ago, is I need to be heard, right? This is just an example of how I write it. I need to be heard, actually heard by someone who knows what I'm saying, or is at least earnestly interested in knowing, right? And then some things like I need an aim, I need to aim at a higher order goal, I need to be able to speak what I think. These are some of the things that manifested themselves recently to me. And then the second thing that I have here is what made me feel good today. And then I have something here like I called my mom, right? And that made me feel connected to people who care about me. What made me feel anxious today? And I wrote here that there was a day where I spent scrolling on Instagram for hours on end, and I felt like I couldn't stop, and my anxiety was at an all-time high that day. What triggered me today? And not triggered in like the sense of the way that the word is used today, but like something that caused you to pause and maybe reminded you of past trauma or something like that. I have some stuff in there that I won't read out. And then what made me emotionally frustrated today, and then more important, resolution. What would have helped you in the situation? What would have helped? So I put down here, sometimes I write, I genuinely don't know. Like one of these days I wrote, I genuinely don't know. And then another day I felt like what would have helped would be pursuing some kind of goal. And then another day I wrote a good conversation with a friend. And then what can I do in the future so that I don't react in that way? This is just some examples of things that I have in my needs journal that allow me to know where I'm at, like to come back to the center of it all and allow me to be able to understand myself better. So now, having said all of that, I want to talk about how this can now go on to affect your relationships and that you have with the people in your life, right? So to preface this is that you need to be in a relationship where you know that the other person is going to be able to give you grace, right? To be able to hear you out, be able to be in step with you, and not hold every single thing that you say against you, and I've been in past situations where this has been horribly disastrous, where I've tried to voice certain things out and then I said it in a very sloppy way, or in a way that wasn't the most articulate, in a way, and this results from me not knowing how I feel, so then when I say things that, why would I say that? Maybe if I was more in tune with how I felt at the time, I would have been able to say things in a way that wasn't as sloppy. But even when I do, the people in your life are supposed to be able to give grace to you, to be able to come back and say, oh, you know what I said the other day? I didn't actually mean that. Can I say it in a different way? I actually thought about it more, and this is what I actually think. This is how I actually feel. So that's just that. So the first thing that I would say, if you are trying to initiate, is that the word? This into your life and into your relationships, is you need to be able to have the difficult conversation, the conversation that you want to avoid. And that conversation would be, hey, I know that so far, this is how our relationship has been, to where I haven't really voiced out the way that I feel, and I haven't really been contending for myself and my needs and my wants in our relationship. But I would really like to change that, and I would like to be able to come to you and say, whenever I feel like something that isn't sitting with me the right way, and stuff like that. And the big issue is that when you are an overly agreeable person, like me, I'm super agreeable. I like people to like me. I don't like it when people hate me. And that fear of people hating you is what keeps you from being able to contend for yourself and being able to share what you need and you want with the people who are in your life. And I feel like you should be able to do that, right? It makes sense that you should be able to do that. But in the situation, it is very difficult for agreeable people or overly agreeable people to be able to do that. Now, over time, I've gotten less and less agreeable the more that I've tried to be radically honest with the people in my life. It has allowed me to become more assertive and speak out more about the things that hurt me, the things that make me not feel so good, and the things that I would like to see, I don't know, like a different approach in my friendships and in my friendships. So this involves having that difficult conversation, because when you are overly agreeable, and I think people will call this like people pleasing, like this is the term that is used now, is like being a people pleaser. It's horrible. You're setting yourself and your relationships up for failure. Even if it doesn't show now, the failure, it's going to show, the cracks are going to show, because what happens is that when you're overly agreeable and you tend to let other people get their way over you, even when that makes you uncomfortable or unhappy, what happens is that it makes you resentful of those people over time. And those people start to see you in a way where you're not being fair to them, because you're not telling them what you actually want. So they're not able to love you the way that you actually need. They're not able to be there for you the way that you actually need, because you're not telling it to them. And then you have this thing in your head where, oh, they should know. They're supposed to know. And you start to resent them. The people in your life need you to speak out and tell them, even when you think that this is obvious and they should know, say it. Say the thing. Tell them, hey, this is what I would like. This is what I wouldn't like. Can you please stop doing this? Because it makes me feel this way, And if that person honestly really cares about you, they would love nothing more than to be able to love you better in the way that you need. And the way that the people in your life are able to love you better is if you are honest with them about the things that you need, and the things that you struggle with, and the things that you want, and the things that affect you negatively in those relationships. And a good example of this, like, I don't know, if you're a Christian who was saved in a very dramatic way, like how I was, and your life completely changed, and you stopped being the person you used to be, you stopped doing the things that you used to do, you stopped liking the things that you used to like, and you just like had this whole new life, and you were going on this epic journey of discovery, as I like to call it, and the most epic journey of epic journeys, and you've now changed. You're no longer who you used to be. Isn't it fair to explain that and make that clear to your family, especially? Like, I know for me, I got saved when I was in uni, right? So I got saved early on in first semester, and I didn't go home all the way until like June, And by that time, over the phone, my mom and my sister could tell that, okay, she's made a radical life change, because I wasn't quiet about it, not at all. So I don't know why, it was very intuitive to me, I know a lot of people don't do this, from conversations that I've had with other Christians, where they're like, oh no, I'm not going to tell them, because I'm scared I'm going to be judged. I'm scared they're not going to take me seriously. I'm scared they're not going to hear me out, and they're just going to laugh at me, and maybe some people did get laughed at, and so that has made them think, oh, I'm just going to be quiet, I'm just going to go along with it. And I don't know, like, for me, in my opinion, if your life has truly changed, if you have truly changed the things that you like and transformed, that's going to translate in the way that you live, right? But what's even better than that is actually telling your family, tell your friends, hey, I don't like this anymore. I don't want this anymore. Because what's going to happen is that they're going to keep inviting you to stuff. They're going to keep expecting things from you that they would have expected from the old you, because that's all they know. You're like not taking them along with you on this journey. And what I've come to see is that when you go on a transformative journey, like when you get saved and become a Christian, the people in your life and your relationships are going to change, and you want them to be able to change for the better. And the way that you set that up and make that possible is if you explicate that to them and tell them, hey, this is what I'm trying to do now. This is how I'm trying to live, you know. They are better able to respect you for it. They respect you for it. They are more intrigued by it. They are curious about it. And even if you're a Christian and you want your family members to become believers as well, this is the best way to go, in my opinion. Don't hide it from them. Don't live a double life. Don't be angry at them, put them in double binds when they don't do the things that you didn't tell them that they need to do in order to love you better, in order to get to know you. You know, you're not letting them get to know this new you and go on this journey of growth with you, you know. And when you grow, I found in my experience, the people in your life, your relationships change, even if the other person doesn't grow, even if the other person remains the same person that they were before. When you grow and when you transform, and when you take that person with you and you sort of like let them hold your hand through it, you know, and don't leave them behind, you can transform that relationship and make it better. And then you don't have to discard relationships. It's not every relationship that you need to discard when you become a Christian. But you feel the need to do that when you're not clear with the people in your life and you don't let them in on what it is that you're trying to do, you know, what your aim is, what your goals are, you know, and how the things that you used to do and the things that they might expect from you don't align with the goal and the aim that you are now focused on. So yeah, I think those conversations are very, very important. And this might just be a me thing, but this is how I like to conduct my relationships. This doesn't even have to be a big thing like, oh, I just became a Christian and now I'm not a Christian. It's just small things as well that you need to be able to tell the people in your life, hey, I don't like when you do this, and I don't like when you do that. Is it possible for you to not do this? Is it possible? And I mean, I get it. Yeah, I did something bad, but is it possible for you to use a kind of tone when you tell me? Because it really hurts me when you use this harsh tone with me. Could you please not shout at me? Or could you please not laugh at me? Could you not make fun of me? Is there a way that we could do that? And I know it's difficult when you've already have established relationships to sort of introduce this new way of doing things. But I think that it's going to be better in the long run for you to start now to do this. I know I've seen how it makes a positive impact in my relationships. Like this is a really funny example, actually. I mean, it's funny now, but it's not funny in the moment because it makes me so viscerally angry. So I have one of my friends, and she's probably going to watch this video. She has this thing where she likes to break her in song. Like she sings all the time. And I have this thing where there are certain noises that really, there's no words to describe it, you know. There's like a name for the condition. I don't really know because I don't want to self-identify with it. But it's a condition where there are certain specific noises that cause serious anger or even pain. Like I know it's physically painful for me to hear certain sounds. And this used to happen to me a lot at home, but now there's certain sounds that when I'm here, I just can't stand to hear. There's nothing else I hear. I can't do anything. I can't focus. It makes me really angry, you know. And one of those sounds is my friend singing. She doesn't sing badly. She sings well. And I hope she watches this video so she knows that. But because it was a new thing for me, you know, I used to be able to listen to her sing all the time until recently I'm just not able to anymore, you know. And I'm not the kind of person who's going to make a big deal out of things that aren't a big deal. But this was becoming a very serious thing for me. And it got to the point where I had to tell her, hey, could you please try not to sing in the little bit of time that we spend together? You know, obviously I'm not going to tell her what to do in her own space, but like when we're together, could you try to not sing as much or just not sing at all? Because it's really uncomfortable for me. And I communicated this to her, and it was difficult for her to hear at first. In her mind, it translates as, oh, I must not love her because I don't want to hear her singing. And, you know, like her singing is a really big deal to her, and I don't want to hurt her feelings in that way, but it's affecting me. I don't want to not want to hang out with her. You see how this affects your relationship? Now you find yourself not wanting to hang out with your friend because you instead of telling them that something that they do is affecting you negatively, you've decided to keep it to yourself because you're scared to hurt their feelings. And now it's hurting your relationship. You don't want to be around them anymore because you associate being around them with this negative emotion that they bring out of you with something that they do. So this is just one example, and I communicated this to her, you know, and things are way better now. You know, she does her best. I have to say she does her best. But yeah, stuff like that, you know, because just tell the people in your life the things that you think are difficult. If every single time you're with somebody, you can't help but think a certain thing, and you just think, oh, I can't tell them, it's gonna hurt their feelings, but you are slowly but surely starting to not like this person. It's so easy. So many friendships, so many relationships that are good are lost because of this one thing. Just being unable to speak when you should. Say the thing. Tell your people, you know. Reteach your friends about who you are and who you're becoming. You don't have to discard the whole relationship just because you're transforming and growing into someone else. You can take your friends along with you. You can let them know, hey, I know I used to like this, but I don't anymore. I know I used to say stuff like this, but I don't anymore. And I want you to be able to respect that because I care about you and I want to keep you in my life, you know. And I think this goes really closely with taking your relationship seriously, you know, especially at the stage of life that we are in. I'm 21 years old. I'm about to finish uni, and I'm seeing how my friendship dynamics are really, really changing. I take friendship very seriously, and I care about the people in my life a lot. So I want to do what I can to preserve these relationships that I've made over the course, to not just done, discarded, kind of thing. Yeah, so I think that this is a really, really important thing. I've seen how it's been transformative for me, you know. If you find yourself thinking, oh, I'm just a people pleaser, first of all, don't self-identify yourself with that. You can change it. I used to be a quote-unquote people pleaser. I'm not anymore, because I see how I was damaging my relationships without even seeing it, you know. You need to be able to be assertive. You need to be able to be comfortable enough to say the things that you need and things that you want to the people who are in your life. And if you're not, if you try to voice this out to somebody and they do not receive it well, maybe they laugh at you, or maybe they say that they will and then they don't over time, maybe it's time for you to rethink if that's a relationship you need to be having in your life. Because if the person who says that they care about you can't receive it well when you say that something upsets you, or something that they do that can easily be changed, you know, is making you unhappy, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. That's just not okay, in my opinion. But that's all for today. That's all that I wanted to share. Well, that's all that's on my outline. I mean, I could talk about this all day. That's just all that I have outlined here as things that I wanted to talk about. I do want to talk more about this idea of the shadow and how you can integrate the shadow into your everyday life. Yeah, that's all, actually. I'm just trying to look if I'm forgetting something, but nothing. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. I've been so excited. I'm on holiday, so all I have is time to record videos, and it's just the most fun outlet for me to be able to just click record and share my thoughts. It's truly wonderful, and if anyone gets anything out of this, that's just bonus points, because it's really helpful for me, for my own growth, my own ability to articulate my thoughts better, you know. I think it's an important area to grow in. But yeah, not to take up too much time, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one.